Well, it's been a while since I've made one of my favorite little projects, the folding flint pocket knife, and I thought I'd do another video on how I do this and try to include a little more detail than the first video I shot. As you see, I got a nice, wonderful pile of antlers here that I will not cut any of these because, as you look, these are pretty impressive. These are big, beautiful antlers, and in my world, you don't do that. But this is what I want to make. Something like this. So the first thing you have to do, and as you can see, this folds out. This is one of my keepers that I made a couple years ago, and I absolutely loved it. And I'll show you why. So when this blade is out and it's held to the light, it really shows a lot of beautiful color. That's Novaculite. So what I need to do is come over here and see if I can find an antler to use. This box here is my cut antlers, and there's some good candidates here. Now this is a possibility here. I like this one a lot, and it's not too far off. So that one's going to go over here as a maybe. And I'm looking at this one here too. Now that's a little heavier duty than I normally use, and this one's got a little bit of a curve, so that might not work out too well. Yeah, this one's too curved. You need a certain distance. Yeah, this is kind of cool looking. I could probably make it out of that, but again, that's a little heavy. So I think I'm going to go with this little guy right here. And so next, I need to cut it on my bandsaw, get the length I want, and then maybe do a little grinding to get the preliminary shape of the handle. So I'll be back. Okay, the next part I got to do here is pretty tricky, and I'll have to focus on what I'm doing or I'll get my fingers wrapped up in this if I'm not careful. I'm going to use the drill press to drill out the length of this, and then I'll drill some holes down through it, and then I'll work that on the bit very carefully, and that should give me my channel that I need for the blade to ride up and down in. So let me set things up here, and we'll get started. As you can see, I've got them all drilled. Now here's the hard part, I think, getting the slot in there. So I'm going to start working this now on the bit. Be very careful, do very gently, never hurry it. As you see, the slot is starting to form now. So I'll finish this up and I'll be back. Now as you can see, I've got the slot all the way down through there now, and I just need to do a little filing and fitting, and then we're going to make the swing piece. And this is so far the hardest part of this job, is to get this handle right and to make the swing piece. So I'll be back when I get started on that. It's going to make a nice slender knife. Can't wait. Looks pretty good. Now I'm going to make the swing piece. Okay. To make this swing piece, this is the piece right here. I just finished making it. You need to start out, I like to use good solid antler. This is real heavy. So this is pretty thick bone. And I cut a slice off there, like you see right here. And then I trace on kind of a rough shape of what I need to put into the end of this knife. And this is how it's all supposed to go together. This will fit right into there, and then once I drill it and put a hole in there, put a pin in there, it'll swing around and the knife will fold in through here. So let me get this thing centered. Now to do that, I put a line here, the center of this here, and I look here where the most mass of this piece is, and then I'll look at those two lines and I'll mark them on here and find the center where I'll drill. So when I come back, I'll have a hole drilled and we'll have a wooden pin ready to go in there. Now one of the last things I'm going to do for this little pivot point is I'm going to heat some beeswax. My torch going here. And I got a little piece of beeswax. So I'm just going to heat that up a little bit and wipe it on there. Wipe it right on there. What that does is that preserves and lubricates that joint. Plus it puts a little bit of that wax in that hole so that when you fit this all together, a little snugger fit. The pin goes in there really nice. Like that. And you notice it turns all the way in. So now I need to chisel out a little spot in there. I'll probably just drill it out and make a blade for this. And once I've made the blade, I will glue it in there and we'll test it out and see how well this little piece folds in and out. And when we're done, we'll do a little final sanding. And once the sanding's done, I'll put a little bit of 5-minute epoxy on the ends here to seal everything, and I'll sign it, and it'll be a completed folding Flint pocket knife. So let's get to it. Okay, I've marked this where I want to cut the slot. This slot will be where the blade goes into, where I glue it. And what I've done is I've marked it so it's just inside here and just inside here. And I've made a line on there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an 1/8 inch drill over here on the drill press, and I'm going to just very gently push that into there and make a series of small holes and then join them together to make the slot. You see, like that. So let me get that done and I'll be back. Okay, that slot's in there about the best I'm going to get it. You can see it. And now I got to do what I'm known to do, and that's be a flint knapper and make a blade to fit this. So when I get back, I'm going to show you what I'm using, and we'll see if we can get a blade made up and get it fitted in here and glue it in and make this into a folding flint pocket knife. Well, I scrounged around in my piles and I found a couple candidates for the knife blade. This one is something I must have been working on and it broke. And I'm kind of leaning in this direction, but hopefully it doesn't break again. Or I might be able to use this piece of Novaculite, because I need something with length, because as you see, it's going to take quite a distance to fill that. So if the first piece doesn't work out, we'll go with the Novaculite. So let's see how things go here. I'm going to pick out a billet and a braider, and we'll see how this stuff chips. This looks to be a piece of Keokuk. It had a flaw in here, and that's what caused it to break kind of irregular, like you see right there. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of trimming it up, and I'm going to whack a few flakes off just to see how it goes. Doesn't feel too bad. A little tough, but that would be typical of Keokuk. Even though this is cooked stone, it still is a little bit tough. So let me work away on this, and I'll get back when I make a little more progress. Well, it looks like we just about got this now. So here's the blade that I chipped out for the knife. Come out pretty good. And all I can tell you, these are not easy to chip out. Let's see if it fits. This is the real test here now. Okay, here we go. We're going to put it in like this. And then it's got to swing in like this. I'd say that's a good fit. So now all that's left for me to do is to glue this blade into this little swing mechanism here, and from there, I guess we're going to be all set to finish up this knife. So I hope this has been helpful to everyone that's trying to do this. I'm pretty much self-taught. I did this out of a desire to own a pocket knife that had a stone blade, and I come up with this technique, and I've made a few of them over the years, and this is the first one I've made in 2 years. So let's get this thing finished up and we'll take a look at it. Okay, I've squirted a little 2-part 5-minute epoxy onto this old lid. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little bit of the bone dust in it that I got from grinding the antlers. So let me get right back and I'll put that in. Okay, I got a little bit of that dust, and just going to mix that right in with the epoxy. Gives it a nice color, blends more with the bone and the stone. And we'll stir this for a minute, and I guess that's about the right amount, and we'll get that blade glued in, and I'll be back to show you. Okay, we're all done now with all the parts and the fitting and everything, and what we're going to do is we're going to get this put together. I've done all the sanding. You can see the pin goes right in there nice. What I'll do is I'm going to fit that pin in there nice and tight, And then I'm going to put a little tiny hole here and put a little pin down in there to keep the this pin from turning. And you can see it really works nice. Look at that. That's a pretty good long blade. I just love the feel on how slender this one is. This is really cool. So let's fold it in there, and I'm going to take it over and cut off this pin, do the final sanding and gluing, and this thing is done. So I'll be back when we're all finished. It's all done. I'm going to do a little epoxy just to clean this area up a little bit, but notice right here there's a pin. That's what I use, toothpick. I use a 5/64 drill bit, and I drill in right to about here. I drill right through the pin. That way it will lock that pin in there, and it won't ever shrink and decide to turn. So pretty happy with this one. This is a good looking slender knife. Good looking blade. Looks kind of old, the blade does. I like that look. And this is it for this project. I just hope that this was helpful to anybody trying to make one of these things. Believe me, it's tedious work, but the end product is definitely worth it all. So thanks so much for watching, and if you try this, let me know, post some videos and show what you've made. Thanks again for watching.